Hello, welcome to our show, Embracing Your Design for Midlife Transformation. The tagline, Come Alive to Impact More Lives. As a tiny habits coach, happy for no reason trainer, and the Gene Keys guide, I invite soulful professionals to have conversations related to their life experiences, businesses, human design charts, and hologenetic profiles based on gene keys and ancient I Ching. Enjoy our show. That's my honor to have Kelly Myszkowski to be my guest today. She is the Sync Your Soul coach. What a nice thing to do. So Kelly, would you want to say hi to our audience first?
Hello, everyone. And thank you, Sunny, for the opportunity to have this conversation with you. I've been looking forward to it for a long time.
Yeah, well, Kelly just about to open a new office with a community center because she is really passionate about helping midlife women to thrive. So
Yes.
Today's conversation will be along with her journey and also with her human design charts and gene key profile, because that is a really good tool for us to connect with our soul. You work in a corporation before, but then somehow you just got this inspiration and start to do something different. I don't know whether you all feel comfortable to share your story.
Definitely. And I think it's important to share our journey so that others can perhaps identify with it or see something of themselves in it and maybe realize that some things that they've been kind of pushing aside or dismissing or ignoring are actually very important little whispers from their soul for a change or for something more. And that's really what happened with me. In retrospect, feel that every choice I'd ever made, I was following what felt right for me at the time. And I feel like I was pretty self-aware at a young age. Mm-hmm. And it was natural for me to go to college. I studied something that interested me, that I felt comfortable spending my time and energy on, and money. And I majored in chemistry because it helped to explain things to me that I couldn't see, how they were working in the world, and things about ourselves and just in general. And I got a job. I went as far as I could in that journey. I was feeling kind of maxed out. There was nothing, there wasn't a next step in that career that I felt comfortable taking and doing what was needed to achieve that next opportunity. And at the same time, there were changes happening in my workplace with the company, potential buyouts and things like that. So there was a little bit of stress and a lot going on. I also was beginning to have some discomfort in my body that didn't fit any typical pattern or typical diagnosis. When I was working on the computer and I got done, my hand didn't feel good, especially from using the mouse.
Wow.
And I began to also have pain in my neck, down through my back, down through my right leg, when I was driving long distances. And it wasn't being helped by any of the traditional approaches in terms of it actually improving. It was just symptomatic treatment between occupational, physical, and massage therapy, chiropractic. Nobody knew, what was going on. Huh. So eventually I got to a place where I was working with someone who helped me essentially relax, get out of my own way, let go, and support my body's natural self-corrective, self-healing mechanisms and resource them so that the course of my life could flow very naturally. And the changes that were trying to come in would take place.
Oh, wow.
Through doing that and being, gradually quieting and allowing those changes to happen, I realized that I really wanted something more. I thought it was really cool to have a purpose, but that was for somebody else, not me. And all these little whispers that I was not tending to that were kind of restricting me and creating a pattern of tension and lack of mobility and kind of closing off, if you will, was my reaction to keep me from going forward where I was. And this was, I learned a lot about how complex we are, but how simple it can be at the same time. So by allowing and supporting that, my body got better. I realized I was naturally looking at my life and looking at the world with a whole new view. It wasn't about literally taking time to sort through a bunch of beliefs and decide what I was believing that didn't serve me and very intentionally choosing new beliefs. It happened naturally. So that what was coming through, I was ready to support. And as I was changing, my body was changing, my life was changing, things that didn't serve me any longer fell away, new opportunities opened up, couple of job changes. And I got to the point that I was invited to be a student in a craniosacral class as a layperson without needing a license. And I knew in that weekend, if I didn't have the opportunity to help others go through a very natural process of fully coming into their potential and their purpose in this world and serving the greater good to make their difference in a very similar way to what had happened for me, it would be my one regret on my deathbed in that moment. And I set my intention, but I also got in my own way again because I had a preconceived notion of how this would unfold. In order to take classes, you have to pay for them. So you have to have a job to get money to take classes. And I was in my way till my job fell away. Then that was out of the way, and it was just learning to follow one thing after another. And long story short, here we are having this conversation. That was the late 90s when that started. And it was, 2000 when I went to school to get my license to practice body work.
That is so amazing. I can see like a movie going through. It's just like flow is like Kelly, you're supposed to flow in here. So somehow the universe or angel or whatever, they would poke at us so we feel uncomfortable. Then we're trying to find out what is wrong, right? Why I feel this way. That's my journey. It goes through all this yucky stuff, but then finally I'm start laughing at, they are trying so hard to let me see something, but I'm just not able to see. I'm so determined. This is my past. Right. So you also mentioned about the something we're very curious about. We'll reserve that later for that craniosacral certification you mentioned about. At this time, I want to kind of share your energy type and also your profile with the audience, because we are using the Human Design and Gene Keys profile as a very great tool for us to reflect about our journey. It's not like, okay, so Kelly, you are projector, you are 4-1, you are just position, and your life will be like a train track. And this is not the conversation we're going to do. Yes, this is some indication we might have a certain way to start our journey. All the tools, all this reading, all this esoteric system, it's just a create storyline for us to quite align, not to get too far. But when we align with the storyline, we still have a lot of freedom, right? To using our creativity and has inspirations and do something totally different. And particularly for people like you, it's only 2% of population, their profile is 4-1. It's called just position. It's between the trans person or the personal. So that personal is just like me. I'm the personal. I'm the right angle. That means I have a lot of things going on with this life is to understand me. But the life sides for the transpersonal, they grow by interact with others, and they also bring others wisdom. And but you, as a 4-1, is kind of the anchor person. You're not going either side, but you also understand both sides. So that's amazing profile as a projector. That's even more. Because based on I understand projector is the future leader. More of it's like a great observer.
I felt like an wise old soul literally stuck in a child's body. Like I was older than I was and didn't have the privileges that went with the age that I felt. And I couldn't wait to grow up. I wasn't trying to rush it, but I always related to people older than myself very well, and I still do. I'm catching up to them though. So yeah, I trust that I will get it when I am supposed to see it in order to help them, because I very much honor their journey.
Yes.
And I'm just there to be a guide for them, not to tell them what to do or show them what to do or when or any of that. Their own healing system will decide, their own inner wisdom. So I have evolved to saying that I provide craniosacral care with a focus on the craniosacral system. Because craniosacral therapy, the way that it's taught, the way that I learned it, is a hands-on, in-person, light touch way of working with the body. But I have the ability to work with people remotely as well. And because I think of my projector qualities, see craniosacral, the essence of it, at a higher level with a higher application. Basically, what it is about relaxing the nervous system, the brain and spinal cord, so they can do what they are here to do. And they do a lot of things. So the benefits of that are widespread. But for me, what I see, or the way I relate to it, is that there is a blueprint for our being. And then we have, we're kind of a construction project, and we have the results of that construction. And I see our nervous system as kind of the project manager, getting the blueprint and issuing some build orders and some instructions as far as what we're to do in the world. And then it's receiving feedback about how that went.
Oh, wow.
And comparing to the blueprint and making adjustments. But what happens to us is those adjustments, if we're not really tuned into who we are and giving ourselves the time and energy to bring that blueprint into being and really living our purpose and making our difference, we end up in survival mode. And this can happen through traumas. It can happen through conditioning, and a whole host of things pile up over time. Okay. So if we can relax as I relaxed and allow that part of ourselves that's here to make corrections, and the corrections ultimately are for our survival. But if we can enhance what's happening and intentionally tune into what our needs are and take our needs to a higher level, then we can thrive.
All right.
So it's kind of spinning it a bit to where we can get back to what was that design that we came here to live and be, and how can I optimize my full potential. And kind of touching on something you alluded to before, you mentioned it very briefly. It can sound limiting, but when we want something, why do we really want it? Is it because we're being conditioned because some very powerful energy around us is excited about it and they want it, so we think we do? And that can happen to projectors a lot in a generator world, where you go to whatever conference and there's a sales pitch and, all this is the next best thing since sliced bread, and you've got to have the next best thing, and you go home and go, why the hell did I spend money on that? I don't want that.
Exactly.
So I help people get beneath that hype and beneath that conditioning. And when they tune into who they truly are, what they want naturally expresses. That's their natural inspiration when they've deconditioned and become closer to themselves. And then they will feel fulfilled when they don't allow themselves to get swayed by the others.
Yes, yes.
And that and we can be told this is what is approved, this is what we revere, this is what gets the awards and accolades when you do this list. And everybody's excited about doing this list, and we grow up thinking that's how we make it in the world, and we're trying to do the list. So we want to do the list because we're told it's good and it's going to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
So we can get caught in that and end up down the line well into our lives and wonder why we're burned out.
Yes.
We don't have the resources of the universe behind us supporting us. We're swimming upstream. We're struggling and striving instead of thriving and following the natural flow and natural unfolding and expression of who we are in the world. And to me, that's what it's all about.
We do need to contribute and give to need to take care of others and serve others. But at the same time, if we lose the balance, just too much of that and not really taking ourselves and align with the true purpose within, then we will spend, for me, 20-some years the wrong place and try to kind of figure it out, and it create a lot of frustration and for projectors of bitterness because the success, other people's, the success standards, sometimes we're not getting it. So the list not crossed out, and that anxiety, right? It's just like, gosh, I'm behind, and the FOMO, the fear of missing out. But those things really, our head, our mind, mentioned about the body wisdom you embody and let people to slow down and just naturally feel who they are, that your energy start to flow more aligned with the purpose, because we're not against it. We're not spend a lot of mind power to adjust it, to correct it. I think it's a good practice, like a boot camp. It's just like, all right, I practice that so many times and it's the same result. Then someone like me stop and just pushing until I say, wait a minute, why I'm doing the same thing never have the good result, why I'm still doing it. All right, it just need to be more flexible and turn around. I think that's how I use the gene keys for that, because like I talk about, there is some kind of script for our story. We need to go through certain things, but at the same time, the gene keys, I like it. It's really just the energy expression. So when we're in the survival mode, we just go into the shadow frequency because we want to survive. We want to fit in because that's fear-based. We have fear about missing out. And when we trap in that low vibes, then we start to see the world the same way, right? Because that vibration match. And I think the beauty part is like, we don't need to go far to find the lights. It's all in there. We just need to change the way we see ourselves, and also maybe shift your view on the other side, right? Because in order to have a shadow like the one I have in my back, right, it's because the light's in front of me and I'm in the middle. That's why I have a shadow. I create a shadow. If I'm not here, I'm totally like crystal. I'm totally aligned. There shouldn't be any shadow. But the shadow is needed for us to reflect to the other side. So I just wonder whether you have an opportunity to learn about gene keys, or you are ready for me to share your profile.
I think I'm ready for you to share where I've touched into the gene keys is in the process of studying human design and getting some training and doing, I use some very basic introductory human design concepts with my clients to help them get an understanding of themselves, especially where they may be stuck. But I like people to come to know themselves in a variety of ways and not get locked into one particular way, find out what resonates with them. Because of the correlation between the gates and the gene keys and whatnot, I've used the Gene Keys book to study the gates in a little more depth. But I've not had a Gene Keys reading per se. So I'd love to hear what you would like to explore with that.
Sure, that's my honor doing with you, Kelly, because when each time I read people's gene key profile, I'm just like, oh, I met another goddess or met another god, because there's all this shining lights in there and all this journey. I can see someone, they know they have struggle, but they just going anyway. They just go through it, and then you are one of those. It's just like you just have to go through it, even, that might be create a lot of emotion waves for you, but that is all the gift you bring into the humanity. Activation sequence that is based on the human design is your personality, sun and earth, and your design, sun and earth. So that 4 is your gene key activation sequence. Gene key has 3 main sequences. One is activation sequence. Second one is called Venus sequence. That's more like relationship and love and understand your wounds in the past. Then you will have a Pearl sequence. Once you go through all this attraction field, this events and people you need to learn lesson from, then you can say your soul has been purified. So in that moment, you start to activate your reader vocation. That's your true business. So everybody will go through a process. Sometimes it's really dark. Sometimes it's just uncomfortable. But once you embrace it, no matter what, and the other side, outside the comfort zone, is much brighter and it's really aligned with our soul. So today we're just going to be just focused on your activation sequence. And the first sphere we call life work. And you got this magic number, 44.4. The 4 in the line energy in the human design, also Gene Key is like a community builder. They're friendly. Everybody like to hang out with them. And with the 44, you become this Trinity number, right? 44.4. And so 44 in the ancient I Ching is only 1 yin line and 5 yang lines. And in that indicated, even you maybe start with a younger age, or maybe you don't have experience, or maybe you don't have a lot of supports, but you care less. You go ahead anyway. So you are going to be fun. This interferes because you're weak, you're young, you're inexperienced. So you always try to learn something. So you're barking other people's matter or learn something, but that's interfere energy because you want to go ahead. But with that, eventually, after you mature and you got more lessons and go through more the challenges, then you will have the chance to form a good team. So you will become the synergy kind of with the leader. That means everybody work with you, they all have their own specialty, and you are not above them or they are not above you. It's just a beautiful community you build with your synergy. Then, of course, you will have a lot of challenging through your work, try to be the community builder, right? You don't want to please everybody, but we do want people to stay around us. So through that dance with what they want, what you need, those kind of things, you might get to the point have the evolution. So in the sequence on the evolution sphere, you are the 24.4. So 24 in the Gene Keys and ancient I Ching is after you got exhausted. Will teach us when we really need to let go, when we really need to take care of ourselves. So the evolution sphere in the Gene Key is finally realize we need that balance. We need to take care of ourselves. Yes, we need to serve others, but ourselves is more important than others when we are not there, and they cannot be served either.
Right.
So your evolution is kind of recovering and getting from your the addition to work. That is your doing part. So between your life work and evolution, you will have a dance around that.
I'm smiling because of this week making new friends, with new people in the building. And I don't know how many people I'm going to face tomorrow night at our grand opening. And I've had a very busy day. So when I came home tonight, I was very aware that I need to take care of myself, to give myself the isolation to recover so that I have enough for when I'm meeting the public. And then after that happens, I will retreat. And I had some colleagues with this line 4 who've said their social battery does run out. There's an expiration on it. You need to recharge. So you're all about it, and then I need my time alone. And I very much identify with that. Very much.
Yeah. Particularly for, all this non-energy type, a reflector and projector, right? Just not able to have a sustainable energy. And once you out, you take longer time to recover it. And plus you don't have the motor with your throat center as a projector. Right. So if you spend a lot of energy to speak, to share, and try to promote, and that use a lot of energy too. So that is definitely, you are aware about, the big things coming, and I hope you get great sleep tonight and relax.
Yes. Who knows what's next? But no, I had backed in the driveway and I was looking at the sunset and absorbing some of that because it was beautiful. And I could have gone to sleep there, which meant you and I would not be having this conversation.
Yeah, I just hope your office is your office. You still go back to your beautiful home to sleep, right? Yeah, so like once you get enough dance evolution, you start to go inner and take care of yourself, and just accept you more and align with your soul. Your breakthrough from the SQ, that is our first 7 years imprinting sphere. So for you, you are the 15. But this one also is a main key in the Venus sequence, because you need to go through and let go of the childhood trauma, because the 7 years imprinting, so that becomes so many of the habits we just not aware. But that is the first visit. When you go life work and evolution, you break through this one time. But in the Venus sequence, you're going to revisit again. Your doing is life work and evolution, and your being side is your radiance and purpose. So your radiance and purpose also in the human design is the design sun and earth. That give us a guidance about how to take care of ourselves. The well-being is the radiant key. So that, because the design side is our body and the personality is our mind, right? So when you got this radiance key, you are the number 7. So 7 in the low vibration based on the gene key is the division. But then you will, using a lot of guidance through your own practice, and get to the virtue. Virtue is not, a behavior we praise. It's just like the sun. The sun provides everything, but the sun didn't say, I provided that thing, you have to thank me, right? So the virtue is just doing great thing and even not realize you're doing it. So your radiance really give you this opportunity to find separation, right? Division, separation from your soul. But you start to sink in with your soul, and that's what you're doing with others, men and women, right? So they can sink their soul and they can become radiance, right? They are naturally, just like you say, your body start healed, and so everything that once you align, you found that separation become unity. Then that is the happy place, right? So you are the number 7 doing that, and the line 1, I'm the line 1 to the investigating, right? I want to know the detail. So that's how you has been studying a lot of things and put it into the practice, because you see that happen to you, right? And you just want everybody else to have the same experience. So that is your beingness. It's just, you don't need to do anything. That's who you are. You just show up like that. And then the other key, the purpose. You are the 13. then the purpose is the being and becoming. Too much being, you just sit in like a tree. You don't do anything, right? But if you're becoming, you do works because you attract to certain things, then you need to work through, right?
Right.
Do a little digging with your channels on your human design chart. You have this 55 and 39. That is between your roots and solar plexus. The root center we own, they have a lot of stress. They're just pumping out us so we can do things. But you connect to 55, that's the freedom in
Right.
gene key. So in a way, you're pumping a lot of energy out from your root, then you will experience a lot of emotional wave from the solar plexus. So you are dancing between this and that all the time. But this is your purpose for you to become master about the movements, right? You can move from happiness to sadness, but you know that is not you. You can eventually balancing back. So that is your purpose. You're going to be shine through and through your journey with your doing part to sharpen your skills, then just live with your design, align with your soul. So that is the beautiful activation sequence I see from your profile.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I think it resonates, some of the last comments that you've made. I tend to feel like I'm someone who's very kind of neutral emotionally much of the time. I'm not someone that walks around super excited. Oh my gosh, this is life. Isn't this just amazing? But I've always said I don't get excited about it because it is. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's how it works. It just is. We all are. Just be you. And that's what I encourage people to do. Be you. If you're one that's going to jump up and down for joy, then jump up and down for joy if that's you.
Yeah.
But I do have those emotional spikes where I can get really high. It just doesn't last long. And I can get really low and it doesn't last long. And I recognize that that's part of life, to experience those things. They're not meant to be managed out or pushed on the back burner and we'll just forget about how I feel and I'm going to go on and go do. Let yourself feel the feelings so that it can flow through. It's just motion. It's just energy in motion. The energy of motion, that's why we call them emotions. Let it flow through, because if you stop it and you dam it up, you're not allowing the flow of life and you're not going to be healthy.
You block, if you block our energy flow because the fear, because you just don't trust, right? Then the energy need to go somewhere. And think about where they're gonna go. We're stuck in somewhere in our body, right? So why we want to do that to ourselves other than just learn how to ride with the wave. Just like you say, once you know that's just a movement, it's coming and going. Because the situation right now is too chaotic, so we don't want to see, we don't want to do. So we have a lot of contracted energy. We just don't want to do that, right? Get away from it. That eventually create energy not able to expand. My background is in molecular biology, like your chemistry. You understand there's a lot of epigenetics. Actually, all this energy we experience will impact our cells and our molecular level. Because that's not wrong or right. It's just there. If energy is there, it's our responsibility to move it out. Everybody has different strategies, but the strategy, like you said, it to be natural. It takes courage to face we are not able to do that. So we need someone like Kelly, direct us to, all right, so I'm tracking here, I'm crying all day long. What can I do? Is something wrong with me? I believe you will tell them a different story, right? So I want to just, maybe you can share with us how you lead like midlife women if they are stuck in certain emotions or body pain or something. What is the first step you want them to start to do?
I think we have to get very clear about what the situation is, what's present for them, what's led them to this point, what they've tried that hasn't worked, where they might like to see themselves. And I help them get in touch with a creative side that um, doesn't limit their potential and possibilities like their logical, rational mind can. I call it your creative, soulful self, um, that has that greater picture and possibilities, and help them tune into their bodies, what they're feeling, where they're feeling it. I use a lot of introspection and self-awareness and some guided imagery and meditation work, and that doesn't have to scare anybody. It doesn't require any particular skill. It's something that you can hone and refine, and you're not required to be at a certain level for us to be able to work together, because that's part of what I help people do, is grow into this place of being able to let the monkey mind go eat its banana while the wise mind is taking care of the inner business and the inner work, and find a way that works for them to resolve these patterns. For me, what the way I see stress is it's our most important messenger. There are pearls of wisdom in there. It's an indication we're out of alignment with who we're truly designed to be. We, for some reason, are acting or reacting or intending to have a certain outcome or something that really isn't healthy for us and true for us. It may be true in the little t true sense of this is the pattern that we've lived, this is the way that it's always been, so this is the story I've written, and we're going to keep following the storyline. And if you're feeling stressed, it's not working for you, so we need a new story. So let's let go of the old one. And what we experience as far as symptoms is not a coincidence. It's based on the type of conflict that we're experiencing, which is interpreted in very, very simple language by an old part of our brain, very primitive part of our brain. And it's going to attempt to resolve that conflict as it understands it and as it perceives it. It's not based on what someone else perceives, it's on your own perception.
Yeah.
So we'll create a response in the body to try to resolve that conflict. If you sort of, it kind of boils down to if you need more of something happening or less of something.
So appreciate, Kelly, to have this conversation before your big day tomorrow. I totally appreciate you. I just want you to share, maybe have one last message you want to share, and also how people can find you.
And to me, it's more important than ever for each of us to serve our unique purpose and be who we're here to be. I said, you know, if nothing else, think about in your body, a heart cell does what a heart cell does. It doesn't try to be a stomach cell. And if it wasn't doing what it's supposed to do, your heart wouldn't be healthy, right? And we have how many of those? So I look at us as a cell on the planet or in the universe or in all that is. Do what you're here to do. Find out what that is. You will be healthier for it. You will be happier for it. And the world will be a better place. I don't see that our mind and body are connected. I see that they are one. The body is a physical expression of the energy of mind. So what is in our mind, our beliefs, is represented in the physical body, in our physiology and intention patterns and all of that.
Yeah.
That can be resolved very easily, very simply, by your own inner wisdom when you connect with it and allow it to happen. It can just be done sometimes through imagery. Sometimes you need to move. As the tissue patterns release, our bodies will want to move to facilitate that release. You know, I'm open to having a free chat, pitch free. I do not like being sold to. If people have questions, if they want to understand this fuller, I love talking about it. I'm happy to do that. If I see, like, sometimes I can illustrate how I might work with you in your situation so that you better understand it. I feel like, you know, do you want to be stuck broken down by the side of the road because you don't know how to fix your car? Or would you rather be able to fix it yourself and get where you're going? Well, I feel like the more we understand us, the more we can get where we're going and not be stuck on the side of the road. My website is letyourinnerlightshine.com, all lowercase, one big long word. And you can also reach me to hop on my calendar to have a pitch-free chat at talkwithkellym.com. And that will take you to my calendar. I am on LinkedIn. I prefer to be on LinkedIn. I am also active on Facebook. If you can spell my name, you should be able to find me.
Thank you one more time for serving the community.
Thank you, Sunny, and thank you for this opportunity to share this information and make my difference in the world, and you making your difference as well by sharing this information. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll see you later, Kelly.
Bye. Thank you.